you all believe that it is important, that image is important, that things are important. And yet, from your heart, you know the answers. I've always believed that. You guys know the answers. 100%. And let me show you something else. If you were killed tonight on the way home in an automobile accident, and we were having a memorial service in this classroom for you, do you want people to remember you for the Mustang? How do you want people to remember you? For who you are. You were killed tonight on the way home in an automobile accident. We're having a memorial service here for you. You want people to remember you for the Ferrari? How do you want people to remember you? For who you were. Same question. Want people to remember you for the Camaro? How do you want people to remember you? People that you helped and served. Isn't it interesting, everyone? Now more than 10 minutes ago, these three guys were prepared to do major damage with a tire iron with me. With a wrecking ball. With their fists. Over 3 cars they don't want to be remembered for. We complicate our lives. It is so simple. So simple. Stop. Stop. If you walk out of here tonight with nothing else but this, I'm going to give you the GPS for your whole life. Stop for 5 seconds and ask yourselves, how do I want the people who I love and who love me to remember me? How do I want the people who I love and who love me to remember me? If some of you want to be remembered as a great friend, put that one up at the top of the list in your life and live it out. If some of you want to be remembered as a person who was there when people needed you, put that one up at the top of the list in your life and live it out. If some of you want to be remembered as just a person who cared, put that one up at the top of the list in your life and live it out. That's not to say don't go after a lot of money. That's not to say don't get the best job possible. That's not to say don't have a ton of friends. Stop. If you can answer this question tonight, tomorrow, next month, next year, you will be among the people that someone says, I know of the 3 or 4 or 5 in my life, I know that you'd be one of those people. And that's the key. In the end, people only remember your heart. They only remember your heart. I was at a funeral the other night. Very wealthy man. Had multiple homes. A lot of the trappings. And yet he was a very kind man. And the place was packed. You know, not one person said he lived in a great house. Not one person said he drove a great car. A lot of what people said was what you said about your best friend. And that's the key. If you can figure out how you want people to remember you and live it out, you'll live beyond anything you could ever imagine. Beyond anything you could ever imagine. I grew up in a macho family. Ever since I was probably 7 or 8 years old, I was told it was weak, it was wrong, it was unmanly to share my feelings. And so never once, growing up, did I ever tell my mother or my father or my brother, never once that I love them. And I would have given anything in the world for someone to have walked into a place where I was and asked me to raise my hand for my best friend. I would have given anything to have been able to raise my hand for my dad. dad was very effective. Every time I go open up to share my feelings, he would say, I can't be bothered now. Let's go back to your room. Don't ever let me see you cry. And so I kept stuffing my feelings down further and further and further until there was no place to go. A number of years ago, I had a huge turn happen. I was speaking at a school, and somebody pulled me off to the side and said, Jim, we got an emergency phone call. Sounds real serious. You better take care of it. Turned out my father had had a series of heart attacks, 3 in succession. You know, everyone, I don't remember what I said to finish that program, but I do remember getting on the first plane, getting to New York, walking into my dad's hospital room. He was laid out in a coma, intravenous files coming out, tubes sticking out all over. And my first instinct was I walked over and I grabbed his hands. I grabbed his hands. And I wanted to tell him I loved him. I wanted to tell him he's special. I wanted to tell him he made a difference in my life. I couldn't do it. All the old tapes kept playing in my head, so I said, don't say it. Don't say it. It's going to hurt you. It's going to put you down. So I sat in the chair next to his hospital bed. 2 days, watching him move in and out of a coma. Sometimes for a minute or two, sometimes a couple more. And each time when he opened up his eyes, there was another opportunity. And each time, I couldn't say anything. Instead, I said, Dad, do you need anything? You want a drink of water? You want me to get the nurse? His life was hanging by a thread, and I couldn't tell him that I loved him. 2 days. 2 days. Not finding the courage. And I sat there, and each time the fear just came over me. Came over me. So I wasn't able to say it. My father survived the heart attacks. Grace of God, strength of the man, however you want to choose to see it. But ironically enough, there was a second chance. I had a speaking engagement in New York. And I called my father up and I said, Pop, I said, I wasn't able to tell you something in the hospital and he's saying, you know, let's get together for dinner, you and I. Well, everyone, he gave me the perfect out. He said, Jim, I got dinner plans, what about lunch? I had meetings, I had television commitments. I had a full day planned. I was flying in the morning, flying back out that night. I rearranged my entire schedule to get to meet my father. Tell him for the first time in my whole life that I loved him. And I was petrified. I was so scared. And I got there early and I did mind games. You know how you know when someone is capable of leveling you? That you want the perfect words to fit your feelings. And that's what I wanted that day. What words are going to make my father not put me down? What words are going to make my father not laugh at me? What words are going to make my father not be silent, which was my father's most effective weapon? And I was sitting there, and finally I just had it out. And I got up and I started walking around the block just to get my courage up. Lost complete track of time. And I looked over at one of the buildings at a clock. And I was 15 minutes late for him. And my father, who runs his whole life by his watch, I knew would be sitting there. And I ran to that risk, I tore in there. And there he was. And my father put his finger in my face and jammed me. Why are you 15 minutes late? You know I've only got an hour for lunch. When are you going to be on time? I looked at him and I said, no way. No way am I going to tell this guy. I had lived my whole life with this fear. But I looked back at my father. He had lost 50 pounds since the heart attacks. His face had virtually no color. cheekbones coming through. And I grabbed across the table, grabbed his hands again, and said, Dad, thanks for waiting up till 2 o'clock in the morning when I didn't show up all night. Thanks for standing by me when I tore the cartilage in my knee, couldn't finish the last 3 football games, and the tell you guys came down my back. Thanks for bailing me out, Dad. I love you. And when I said I love you, I put my head down. I was hoping there's no way that he would hear that. Everyone, when I raised my head, it was the last reaction I could have ever imagined. For the first time in my life, I never saw it at my grandfather's funeral. First time in my life, I watched my father cry. And all the pain, and all the anger, and all the resentment, I just let go watching him cry. And I came around the table and put my arms around him. He just sobbed, and I sobbed. And his head was like bouncing off the side of my chest. I can tell all of you, especially the guys in this room tonight, that ranks at the top of the best moments I've ever had in my whole life. And I got together with my father the next morning for breakfast, and he told me something that just blew me out of the water. He said, Jim, I would have gone to my grave and not been able to tell you I loved you. Because my father, my grandfather, told him it was wrong. He was just passing that one on to me. Just passing that one on to me. So many of you here tonight inherited from your family, who's inherited from their parents, parents before, a legacy of pain, a legacy of, challenging communication, dysfunctional people. What I'm asking you to do tonight is stop. Stop the madness. Stop the madness. And if you don't believe that stuff sticks with you, let me ask you a question now. Raise your hand if you can remember your most painful moment in life. Raise your hand. Keep them up. I'm sorry, how long ago? A week ago, yes. 2 years ago, yes. 10 years ago, how old are you? 16. Yes. A week ago. Yes. 4 months ago. Yes. 5 years. Yes. Yes. What is it? Second to fifth grade. Yes. 4 years ago. Yes. 8 months. Yes. A year and 3 months. Yes. 3 years ago. Yes. 10 and a half. Yes. 2 years ago, yes. 2 years, yes. 5 months, yes. 2 years, yes. 4 years, yes. 10 months, yes. 4 years, yes. A week, yes. 4.5 years, yes. Last week, yes. A year and a week ago, yes. 11.5 months ago, yes. 4.5 years, yes. 8 years, yes. 8 years, yes. 2 years, yes. 2 years ago, yes. 6 years. Yes. Last summer. Anyone else? What just happened in the room just now, everybody? I didn't ask you to tell me what your most painful moment was. I just asked that you remember it. And you brought it back as if it happened yesterday. I mean, there was someone there that was 16 and it was 10 years ago. So this stuff sticks in us. And the challenge for all of you is when it comes up. Because sometimes these moments define our whole lives. Our whole lives. When it comes up, put up a red flag in your head and say, damn it, I am not going to let this beat me. I am not going to let this beat me. Because if you do, then all you're doing is moving that legacy on a continuum. And you're just keeping it going. And the sadness of that is it affects lives around you, not just your own. Any family that you have, your spouse, your children, they inherit the legacy of pain. So I'm asking you to think in terms of when this comes up, to push against it and say, no, 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 I'm not going to let it beat me. You know, the first time I told a story about my dad, a young girl was moved to get up out of her seat. Called her father, who was in Midland hospital in Rochester, to tell him for the first time that she loved him. And her father said, come on over, I need to be with you. I need to be with you. She raced over there, it was in the morning program. Got over there maybe 10:30, stayed till about that time that night. Her and her father just unloading all the things that had been inside of them. And it was 2 hours past visiting time. And her dad said, you look tired. Go home. Go home. She said, no, Dad, I'm not leaving. I need to be here. I need to be with you. And he said, we'll pick this up again tomorrow morning. And she said, no, Dad. She said, this is the closest we've ever been. I am not going. He said, make an old man happy. Please go. Reluctantly, she went home. At 7:30 the next morning, her father died on the operating table. And I got a call from her the first day of grief to thank me. To thank me for giving her the courage to tell her father how much she cared. And the words were so powerful, I put them on my bulletin board. And every time before I go to a talk, I just slap those words with my hand to remember what this whole thing is about. And she said to me, we had some time and yet no time. But I was still able to tell them how much I love them. I spoke in the UP. The young girl wasn't so lucky. She waited till after school to tell her father how much she cared. She raced home. There was an EMS truck in the driveway. Her father, who was 38 years old, had been cleaning out the garage and had dropped dead of a heart attack. 38 years old! And I got a call from her the first day of grief. And she said, Jim, I know you get a chance to talk to thousands of people in your life. Tell them not to wait. Tell them I waited a half an hour too long. There are many of you here that have friends, maybe that you meet this weekend, friends at home, family at home, people you really care about, that you've never once told them that you loved them. Live with the reality as I do, that there is no guarantee that the person that you care about is going to make it home tonight. None. And this program has nothing to do with death, guys. It has everything to do with time. Time that we're never quite clear. We're never quite clear. Because it changes in a phone call. Our lives change in a phone call. And we don't know what is going to happen. So the best gift that you can give yourself, I hope when you leave tonight, that you sit down and text a friend, or you pick up the phone, your cell phone, or you just, whatever vehicle you choose, sit and write a letter. And let somebody know how important they are to you. Because I got to tell you, that's the connection. That's the connection, guys. We're losing it with technology. You're living in a time when we're becoming more distant, more anonymous, more away from each other. I was at breakfast the other morning, and I was sitting next to this couple, and it was a crowded breakfast place, and they were eating oatmeal and had their head bowed down, and they were texting through the whole breakfast. And I turned to them and I said, you know, you look like a couple, you got wedding rings on. I'm just curious, who are you texting? Each other. Each other. They were across the table. It's scary and it's funny, and there's all kinds of feelings about that. It's sad to me that we are building these walls and we are losing this ability to connect. To connect. I had an 11-year-old girl call me the other day, and a boy she liked in school, in middle school, broke up with her by email. I mean, how tragic. And she was so angry. She was so hurt because he didn't have the courage enough to look her in the face and tell her. That's what we're putting up with. And the scary part is like a big wave. It's coming over us. And it's up to you. It's up to you. I mean, you can say no to this and say, wait a minute, I can still have this in my life, but I'm not going to make it my life. And that's the big key. That's the big key. Because no matter what you believe, every single one of you can do something significant to make this part of the planet a whole lot better. Unless you don't believe that statement, because it's a lofty statement. I had an 18-year-old girl on June 6th, 6 years ago. Changed my life. I went to eat in a Red Robin restaurant, and I walked in, and the waitress comes over to me, and she says, what would you like to drink? And I said, I'll have a Diet Coke, and she said, I'm so sorry, we only have Pepsi products. And I said, well, I really want a Diet Coke, but water would be just fine. She kind of looks at me, and she says, do you really want a Diet Coke? And I said, that would be wonderful, but I understand. Water would be just great. And she says, well, let me see what I can do to make that happen. Well, I had no clue where she was going. And she says to me, there's a 7-Eleven across the street. I'll run over and get you a Diet Coke. Well, I got up, gave her a hug, and I said to her, just the gesture alone is phenomenal. About 10 minutes later, it was very humid. She comes running back in the restaurant, and there's beads of sweat on her forehead. And on her tray are 2 Diet Cokes. Well, I did all the obligatory things, everybody. I gave her a big tip. I told her manager, I called the corporate office. But I left that day with a single intention, that if she could go the extra mile, that I could get up every single morning with my eyes open up and find a way to make a difference in someone's life. In the smallest of ways, in the largest of ways, but I could find a vehicle to do that. So at 18 years old, and I couldn't pick her out of an audience, or if I met her one-to-one, but her action that day changed the course of my life. I mean, I've always been on my path, but now it's reinforced. And now whatever remaining time I have left, I'm committed to be conscious enough every day to look around me. Because if there is something I could do, then that would be great. And every single day, just that consciousness has provided an opportunity for something to crop up that I can do. that I can do. And it makes my little corner of the world maybe just a little bit better. Because in the end, guys, people will only remember your heart. Bringing that one back. They'll only remember your heart. 10 minutes after all of us are gone, the people in our lives are going to get up. The ones that love us are going to love us. The ones that don't are not going to get up and say, oh my gosh, I love Jim too. And everybody else in the world is going to keep on trucking. So the key is to take your heart, to give it to somebody else. In the form of acts of kindness, in the form of caring, in the form of a sense of love, in the form of understanding. And I know you guys know this. Because when you went around and talked about best friends, that's what best friends is all about. The feeling of being safe with another human being. The feeling of unconditional love and acceptance. The feeling that that person will walk through fire with you. What a great feeling. In the middle of all of this anonymity, what a great feeling. So you guys know it. The big challenge is how to put it into practice. For some of you, this program is going to last 10 minutes. Some of you never got it at all. For some of you, 10 days, 10 months, 10 years. And for the very small handful of you, maybe you'll carry it with you the rest of your life. But I can't be responsible. I can't. I've suffered in my life with so much pain. To get to this point. To get to this point. And I've struggled to try to figure out what had importance to me. And I want to grab just a little bit more of life. I want just a little bit more time so that I can keep moving this forward. But who knows? I mean, I'm a full-blown diabetic. I shoot up 4 times a day. I had quadruple bypass surgery on the first year of my marriage. I mean, I struggle to pick up everything. So who knows what time I've got. But damn it, I'm going to max it out. And I'm going to leave here with the sole intent that one of you in this audience tonight will go out and make such phenomenal change in people's lives for the better. I wholly believe that. Wholly believe that. I really do. I wouldn't keep going and doing this. I mean, I work with this level of energy to groups 10 times this size. But I wholly believe that there's someone here tonight, and I never know who I'm supposed to be here for. There's someone here tonight that I'm really supposed to be here. For whatever reason. For whatever any words have been said. And if this assembly had happened in my school, I would have been sitting in the seats where you are, laughing, putting it down, and wondering why I went home feeling this incredible loneliness. Because I couldn't let it in. I couldn't let it in. I mean, love in my life was given and taken away so many times by my family that I couldn't allow somebody to love me for the fear that if they took it away, it was more devastating than that thing. So I had to push and push and push to overcome that. And my most painful moment is attached to this last statement. But, and I credit this again because I know my wife Jan will just shake her head with this. She asked me never to do this, and I've broken this twice already tonight. But she has been my greatest teacher. She has been someone who has taught me what it feels like to truly be loved and to love. And I wish I
turn back the clock and regroup and take the years that I couldn't figure it out to be able to do that. And it's such a gift. It's such a gift, guys. And it's within all of us. It's within all of us. And the biggest question is to allow someone to see your heart. To see your heart. There's a sharing part of my program. It goes on for hours, and they do it in some schools not. But I've seen some incredible courage during that part of the program. At a school, Midland High School, there may be somebody here tonight from that many years ago. A young boy with a syphilitic head, pencil-thin arms, got up in front of the whole school and said, "Why do you guys put me down? I didn't mean to be born like this. I walk down the halls and you guys look away." He said, "I need friends. Please be my friend." When he got through speaking, 50 people came out of the bleachers to hug him, to cry with him. He came back up to the mic and he said, "This doesn't change my appearance. I'll still be walking down the street and people will still look away. Because look at me, I'm grotesque." He said, "But when I'm in my room one night feeling alone, I'll remember that some of you came out of your seats to hold me." At a school in Utah, quadriplegic, paraplegic, brother and sister. Brother gets his wheelchair, motorized wheelchair, up to the mic and says, points to the corner of the room where his sister is sitting in her chair and says, "I want to thank my sister for giving me the courage to keep on going." And her sister gets her chair in front of her brother and they reach across the chairs and they just hold each other. Hold each other. Everyone got up and gave them a standing ovation. They had never seen such courage. But the biggest act of courage, bar none, was at a school in Chicago. A young girl, just beautiful, was leaving school 6-8 weeks before I got there. There were all these rumors. She was leaving after half a day. All these rumors. Whispering. She got up in front of the whole school, 2,000 students. And she said, "I know you've been talking about it. And I know you don't even know what I'm going through." She said, "I found out 8 weeks ago I've got cancer. And I've been taking chemotherapy treatments. And it's left me too sick to come back to school." Then she said to everybody, she said, "I thought I could go it alone. I thought I didn't need any of you." She said, "I was so wrong. I was so wrong." She said, "I need friends," like the first boy said. She says, "I'm scared." She said, "I'm 16 years old, and I don't want to die." She said, "Please be my friend. Please help me through with this. I can't go it by myself. I need you. I need friends." And when she got through speaking, she took off her wig and she was completely bald from the chemotherapy treatments. I had to get out of the way for 2 solid hours while everyone in that school lined up to cry with her, to care about her, to tell her that they wouldn't let her go it alone, to tell her that they would be there. And every Christmas I get a personal letter. And in the letter it said, "Jim, I don't know who's winning the cancer or me, but my friends are helping me through it." That's the key for every one of us in this room. My friends are helping me through. So my suggestion after the program tonight is to let those friends know Obviously, if your best friend isn't here, find a way to let them know that you spoke about them and how deeply they mean to you in your life. Because that connection is so rare. So rare. So that is really what I'm asking so many of you to go out and do. Do an act of kindness. I was in New York when JFK Jr. died. I was speaking. And coincidentally, I was in New York when Princess Di also died. Do you know what people did? They bought flowers, big bouquet of flowers, and they left them on the steps where they lived, worked, wherever. Spent so much money on these flowers when they couldn't go home. Give the flowers to their family. They gave it to an anonymous person. To an anonymous person. Something's wrong with that picture. Something's wrong with that picture. And I call it flowers for the living. Give flowers. Give your heart. Give your time. Give your love. Be a better person. Because as much as you think whatever is really important, at the bottom line, what's really important is what's inside of you to give to another human being. I mean, I can't say that often. I can't say that often. Years ago, I got an opportunity to go on the road when the Beatles first made their national tour. I was a photographer. And I was in Chicago, and John Lennon put up a full-page ad in the Chicago Tribune asking to meet with 75 aspiring songwriters in the hope that the Beatles would find a new song, take it to the top of the charts, make that person famous. In an auditorium, not unlike this one right here, 75 people gathered. 5,000 had applied to be there that day. And John Lennon, who was the softest spoken man, came out of the side curtain and barely above a whisper, he said to everybody, he said, "I am no more important than any of you." And we heard him. I was in the hallway in the back. I nudged the guy next to me and said, "What do you say?" So Lennon, realizing that nobody had heard him, walked back up to the mic and he said, "I am no more important than any of you." Sure enough, a guy in the back raised his hand and he said, "Hey John, how can you tell us we're nobodies? The world is singing your music, your concerts are standing room only." He said, "The only difference between myself and you is if I've got a song inside, if I've got a dream in my gut, I could have somebody write it, somebody play it, maybe somebody promote it. Every single one of you tonight has something special to offer. But it doesn't mean anything if we put you in the middle of a circle this weekend and we all tell you how great you are if you don't buy it inside. It's my hope that one of you, and I've had this so many, many times, one of you will see me in an airport or a mall, someplace maybe when you're traveling in the country and I'm there. Come up to me and say, "Hey Jim, I heard you speak 5, 10, 15 years ago. I want you to know I'm going after my dreams. I'm feeling great about myself. And most of all, which means the most to me, I'm giving to a whole lot of people in my life." And I'll walk away with an incredible smile on my face. Every single one of you can make the world a little bit better. And none of you ever has to go it alone. None of you. I've given you everything I can give you tonight. I had a really scary drive going up here. And I've given you everything I can give you tonight, in the hope that maybe my heart will connect with one of yours, and it'll be a better place tonight because of that. I love you guys. I love this program. Thank you for giving me the space today. First of all, who's 20 did I take? Because there's the integrity on this one too. Who's 20? Who's 20? Who's? Oh, come on. Give me a break. No. But I will do something in a minute. There are scraps of the bill on the floor. And I've been doing this a while. For anyone tonight, long after you forget about anything that was said, forget about me, forget about whatever. Come up, I'll tear off a piece of the bill for you. If you're in your room and saying nothing's working in my life, everything just is going south, pull out a part of that bill. Remember, people first, think second. You'll never ever be alone in life. And that is the key. That's the key. Also, my wife Jan, my love, is up there. We've got posters for anybody that wants posters. We've got bracelets for anybody that wants bracelets. There's a sign-up sheet. You think that this is a program that will have some merit at your school. My goal each year that I travel so much, my goal is to stay more in Michigan. And chances are, I've always spoken at your school at some point over the last 30 years. But, you know, if you think that this is worthwhile, there's a sign-up sheet up there that Jan will give the information as well as, you know, give away the posters and the bracelets. I'll be up here and tear off pieces of a bill, you know, as many people as want it. You know, I'll be glad to do that. Go on my Facebook page and just basically share some feelings that would make a difference in somebody else's life. I have, you know, a huge Facebook following, and I think anything that you say in a profound way will be able to just make, you know, a huge difference. And I want to acknowledge so many of the people here in the room that have been an integral part of my life over the last 30 years, and special people like Emily, who's standing there, who brought me into Caledonia. But the idea is that there is a connection with HOBY that is such a rare connection. And my wife Jan has been coming to HOBY with me for 10 years, and this is her favorite program of all the ones that she ever goes to. She goes to, you know, some of my schools and all the rest of things. It's also my favorite program. Because there's something rare that is in this room that gives hope to this planet, gives hope to this country. In the face of all the problems and all the difficulties and all the pain and all the issues and all the rejection, there's something in this room that gives hope. And because of that, I leave here with hope. So, again, I love this program. I love you guys. Stay in touch with me. I have a turnaround time of a couple days, and I basically, if you want to reach out, I may not have the answer for you, but at least I'm willing to listen, and at least I'm willing to hold up the mirror, because I'm convinced that you have the answers. Okay? Thank you guys. I love you. Go see my wife if you want.